Alright, it's time to lock in. We're building this from scratch. First step, select everything and delete it. Sorry, default cube, maybe next time. Now let's add a circle. We want a nice hexagonal base here, so set those segments to 6. Go ahead and fill in the face, then bevel those edges. Let's go with a width of 0.1 meters and 15 segments to keep it looking premium. Next, hit I to inset the face. Do that twice, then extrude the mesh up by 0.3 meters. To catch those highlights later, add a bevel modifier. Set the amount to 0.03 with 5 segments and click Shade Smooth. Look at that smooth topology. Now for the stack. Duplicate your mesh and move it down 0.3 meters on the Z-axis. We're adding an array modifier to this one. Set the count to 10 and the relative Z offset to -1. Make sure the others are at 0. To finish this section, duplicate that entire arrayed mesh and move the new one up 7.4 meters in the Z. Perfect. Now let's grab our main hexagon, which doesn't have the array, and hit W to set the origin to geometry. Before we animate, let's prep the scene. Head over to Output Properties, set the FPS to 60 for that buttery smooth look, and set the end frame to 200. Now for the fun part. We're going to animate this hexagon dropping onto the stack with a satisfying bounce. At frame 1, set your Z location to 3.9 meters. Now, let's dial in the bounce. And yeah, we got a few keyframes here, so stay with me. At frame 55, bring it down to 0.15 meters. Frame 65, we'll pop it back up to 0.45. Frame 75, back to 0.15. Frame 81, a small jump to 0.25. Frame 87, back down to 0.15, almost there. Frame 91, 0.17, and finally, at frame 95, we land it at 0.15. Okay, we survived the numbers. Now, split your view and open up the graph editor on that second window. Select all those Z location keyframes and set the interpolation to Bezier. Now for the secret sauce to get that crisp bounce. Take those bottom keyframes, the ones where it hits the floor, and scale them down to 0. There we go. Then grab the top keyframes while it's in the air and scale them up just a touch. Let's play the animation. Not bad. Oh, and don't forget that first keyframe. Scale that one up too for a much more impactful initial drop. A bit better, right? Next up, we need some rotation to sell the movement. Back to the object properties at frame 1. Set that Z rotation to 140 degrees. Now let's follow the bounce. Frame 55, drop it to 40 degrees. Frame 75 down to 15. Frame 87, we're at 5 degrees, and at frame 95, we'll settle it at 0. Much more chill than the last list of keyframes. Back to the graph editor, hide those location curves and bring up the rotation. Set the interpolation to linear here. Since we're going for realism, that rotational speed is going to stay constant in the air and only bleed off when it impacts the stack. Physics, am I right? Alright, minimize that editor and let's see what we've got. Okay, that's buttery smooth, definitely passes the vibe check. Duplicate that animated hexagon, then head back to the graph editor. Hide the rotation curves for a sec, grab the location keyframes and move them up by 0.3 using G and Y. Now, unhide the rotation, select everything and slide it all forward so the animation kicks off at frame 100. If you hit play, you should see them dropping in a nice, clean sequence. Look at that! For a bit of variety, let's reverse the spin on our second hexagon. At frame 100, multiply that Z rotation by -1 and reinsert the keyframe. Go ahead and do the same for the rest of the rotation frames, except the last one, because -0 isn't a thing, no matter how hard you try. Now, just a quick check in the graph editor to make sure we still got that linear interpolation. Okay, let's set the stage. Add a plane for the backdrop, scale it up by 50 and give it a 90-degree rotation on the X and 45 on the Z. In the top view, just scoot it way back into the distance. Now, let's make it pretty. Jump into Render Properties and switch over to Cycles. Make sure you're using GPU compute so we aren't rendering this thing still next year. Turn off the noise threshold for the render and cap the samples at 64. For the lighting, head to World Properties and bring in an HDRI. I've linked the one I'm using in the description. Set that strength to 1.2. Okay, now for the glow up. Select that first hexagon, add a material and name it Metal 1, keeping it simple so we don't get lost. Swap that graph editor for the shader editor. We're going to add a layer weight node. Now drop in a color ramp. I have mine set to HSV and far. That's the secret to getting that iridescent oil slick look. Connect the facing output to the ramp and then plug that right into the BSDF base color. Wait, if you want these exact colors, just pause the video while I show them to you. Okay, let's finish the look. Set metallic to 1 and the roughness to 0.2. Let's jump into rendered view to see what we got. I hope that makes up for yapping about math in keyframes for like 6 minutes. Okay, back to object view. Grab the second hexagon and assign that same material, but click the duplicate icon to make it a unique instance. Name it Metal 2. The only tweak we're making here is the color ramp. I'm swapping it to this second set of colors. Again, feel free to copy the hex codes if you want. Alright, let's break this array. Select that bottom stack and apply the array modifier. Now jump into edit mode and separate by loose parts. Boom! Every mesh is its own object now. Let's alternate the materials, Metal 1 and Metal 2 all the way down the line. Now grab the top stack of hexagons and place it down by 0.05 meters. We'll give it the Metal 1 material. We might be a bit lazy here, but honestly, it's not going to be visible, but we need it there for the lighting to just loop properly. Next, add a camera and snap it to your current view. Let's go for a more cinematic feel, so set the focal length to 80mm and turn on the center composition guide so the adjustment is easier. Now let's head over to the object properties and fine-tune this position. Okay, camera is in position. Give it a play and make sure you're happy with the framing. Now for the backdrop. Add a new material, call it backdrop, and let's go with a clean white. Set the roughness to 0.3. But hey, it's your project, I'm not stopping you. Now let's get this camera moving so the loop actually works. At frame 1, insert a keyframe on the Z location. Then jump to frame 201 and add 0.6 meters to that Z value. Keyframe that too. We need the speed to stay constant. Set the interpolation to linear. Words are hard, okay? Hit play. There it is, a perfect seamless loop. To finish this off, let's get some professional lighting in here. Add an empty at the origin and rename it Light Tracker. I usually leave these as empty, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'll actually be organized this time. Jump out of the camera view and drop in an area light. Scale that way up to 6, set the power to 200, and change the shape to disc for those smooth, circular highlights. Now add a track to constraint to the light and set the target to our tracker. Now, no matter where we move the light, it's going to stay locked onto the empty. We're in the home stretch. Duplicate that light 3 times and spread them around the stack. Position them at varying heights, mostly below the hexagons to catch those bottom bevels we worked so hard on. Jump back into the camera view. Let's open the 3D viewport in that second window so we can move the lights around and see the results in real time. Just tweak the positions until it feels perfect. To keep everything moving together, select all your area lights, then the light tracker, and hit Ctrl-P to parent them. Now select the tracker, then the camera, and parent that too. Now we ensured that the lighting loops. Last few clicks, head to render settings and set the look to high contrast to make those colors really pop. Turn on persistent data to save some render time. Set your output folder and then go ahead and smash that render button. And just like that, it's all done. Hope you enjoyed the process and thanks for sticking till the end. I'll see you in the next one.